All right, folks, we are live with the BODS Mayhem Hour live year-end review for 2022. For most of us, it was crap. I know for me, it was crap. Oh, crap. Here we go. Oh, crap. Trust me, something. Hang on, I just got to turn the volume down. Oh, crap. Sorry about that. It's not good if something don't go wrong. Trust me.
It adds to the appeal.
It does. It does. Anyway, we have a lot of stuff to discuss about the year-end review for 2022, and thank God 2022 is over. It's almost over with and done with. But then we got crappy 23 coming up anyway. So I want to introduce some guys that is on here with me this evening. They are from other bands that I know and good friends of mine. So, guys, I'll let you introduce yourself. So, Mike, you want to take it first?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm not in a band, but I know John very well, and I know Josh very well. Josh and me go way back from when I used to do shows a long time ago. But we're doing shows again because I have a nonprofit called Oak Operation Appalachian Kentucky. We're raising money to help children in need and have a big party for them next year during Christmas. Also, I have Blast on Mike's incredible show where I've interviewed hundreds of people. And yeah, that's how people know me, put on Facebook Live, things like that. So that's who I am. Joshua. And I'm not in the band.
And Mike's got a cooking show too.
What's that?
You got your cooking show too.
Yeah, I do a lot of things, man. I do all kinds of crap. You all just got to come and find me. I'm not hard to find.
He does. Mike's at WrestleMania every year. He's into all kinds of stuff. And let me reiterate, he's not in a band, just so everyone knows.
Yeah.
He did jam with Zero King on stage the other night, though. I was there and I saw it. So
there is video of that, and I screwed up.
Yeah, it's part of it. I screw up all the time when I play. I'm sure the other guys do too. It's part of the show.
I can't jam out.
But my name is Josh Crum. I'm with a band called Downtrend. We're from Pikeville, Kentucky. We've played all over the country. When people ask me, so what kind of music do you play? I usually say, when you go to a show and there's some kick-ass band opening up that you don't know who they are, but they're kind of taking care of business, we're those guys. We're all original, do our own thing, and we're usually around opening for somebody else that's coming through the area. And I also do a podcast called Diary of the Madman, the Ultimate Ozzy Osbourne podcast, because my buddy Dan Drago and I are Ozzy historians, and we believe more than anyone on earth about him, including him and Sharon. So we enjoy our podcast very much, and tune into that if you're interested in Ozzy Osbourne. You'll love it.
Well, there's an album that came out this year that curious your thoughts on.
It may have made my top 10.
Oh, I guarantee it's the top 10. I guarantee it's probably number 1.
Yeah,
but
I will say on mine too.
I will say this, that if Sharon says something about Ozzy and doesn't know, Josh and Dan would correct her and tell her.
All the time.
See, touch it. Go ahead, Mr. Dave McAnally.
Yeah, Dave McAnally, project called Derision Cult out of Chicago. We are industrial metal, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Been on the podcast a couple times. Last year we talked some top tens, and I think I'm a little more metal this year than I was last year. I got a few curveballs, but I was kind of left field last year, other than the Black Label thing. So
yeah. And last but not least, the Salem's Crown guys. Let's go, guys. What's going on?
I'm Josh, Dusty, Kevin, and of course our bass player had to work tonight, Mr. Brent. So he ain't here with us.
Yeah, we're all Knott County boys though. So Knott County, Eastern Kentucky. Yeah.
All right. So our first topic is the big one, and I'm just going to throw it out there, and I'm just going to call it a Pantera tribute. Okay. So we got Phil Anselmo, we got Rex Brown, we've got Zach Wild coming in here on guitar, we've got Charlie Bonante from Anthrax in here, plus we got Dimebag's guitar technician Grady Chapman, Champion, I guess that's how you pronounce his last name. So, are you guys excited about this? I mean, me personally, I am, and the videos that I've seen were phenomenal. But I was on the fence a little bit But after I saw a couple of the videos, I was cool with it. I was like, God, dog, they're slaying,
Yeah.
feeling it.
Yeah, they sound good for sure. I guess for me, I'm excited for kids who didn't get to see them, because like, the shows are all South America, and you could tell it looks like an old Pantera crowd, just circle pits everywhere and everything. That's how I remember it. And I probably saw Pantera probably 7 times, maybe across all the 6-7 times. But a lot, and my wife included, never got to see them. And I know a lot of kids who just wouldn't have. So I'm excited for that. But I will say this: it's a little weird watching Phil and Selmo up there like the Frankenstein monster, because I used to. I mean, when you used to see Pantera shows, that guy was a maniac. Unless he had one of his bad heroin days, but when like he would jump around. Anyways, it's a strange visual, seeing him just kind of stand there. But he sounds phenomenal, and I think anybody who didn't get to see those songs live, this is a cool thing.
Man,
Yeah, he sounds strong.
I wish that I had seen that live. I think I'm one of those kids you're talking about.
Yeah, and so
and I mean, I grew up just loving the band, and some of the videos make me really excited. It's kind of like the rock and roll is dead kind of thing.
Yeah,
but that crowd, it's like, no, it's not.
Yeah,
and that crowd is just amazing. So I love seeing that.
Yeah. I think Charlie is a hero in that, man. You can close your eyes and that sounds like Vinnie Paul.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Like Zakk Wylde, it's still like that's Zakk Wylde playing Pantera songs, but it does not sound like an Anthrax drummer playing that music. Much props to him.
I think you can always pick Zakk Wylde out of a crowd. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if
either a bad or a
Dimebag
good
stage,
thing. I don't know which.
Yeah. Well, if Dimebag went on stage with Ozzy and played No More Tears, it would still sound like Dimebag also. You know what I mean? It's just kind of who they are.
Yeah.
And guitar playing, I don't mean it's disrespectfully to the drummers, but it has more personality than drumming does. It's very hard to find a drummer who has a distinct tone or personality. Vinnie Paul did, and Charlie's doing a great job replicating that. Alex Van Halen comes to mind as one that just has a personality with his sound, I think. But with guitar players, they almost all have their own personality, and it's so hard to capture that. But I think they're absolutely killing it. I was on board with it from the start because I thought Charlie and Zakk were the right people, period. Like, I think if Vinnie Paul and Dimebag picked it out, that's who they would choose, and it seems so perfect. Phil sounds great, like Dave mentioned. I was very impressed with that. And another thing that no one's talking about, I'm happy for Phil that he has moved on from the White Power debacle a few years back. Does anybody else recall that? It kind of went away.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see that he's been able to grow from that. I had the pleasure of meeting Phil right before the pandemic, and I really expected him to be a dick. You've met those guys that you expect to be or whatever. I really expected. And he was one of the sweetest people I've ever met, but I truly think that situation humbled him. To become the Phil that he is now, because he was excellent, and I'm so glad to see him overcome and just move on from something like that could have really taken him out. But I'm excited, and like Johnson, the crowds just look absolutely amazing.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
And this could be closure for him and Rex. Could be closure. I mean, this is what they needed.
Yeah, I was at a Pantera
I gotta
show.
say.
Go ahead, Dave.
All I was going to say is, for me, Josh, I think John's met my son too. I know Josh has seen him grow up, and, my son really wants to see bands like Pantera and Guns N' Roses. And, for me, I got to see Pantera on the same tour that they Typo Negative toured with them, and at Louisville Gardens. And I actually got to watch Pantera with the drummer of Typo. We
Johnny
sit
Kelly?
together and watch Pantera play. Johnny Kelly, yeah. Me and Johnny were friends because I've seen Typo like 7-8 times, in Louisville when I lived there. So, I got to sit with Johnny and witness Pantera, But, another thing is when I was in Austin for South by Southwest, I got to meet Phil. And I really thought Phil was going to be this complete dickhammer, just a complete asshole. And, I've been around backstage like John and, some of us have, and you know how to act when you're around people like that. And I waited for him to talk to everybody. I went up to him and said, man, it's a pleasure to finally meet you. And he looked at me and goes, it's a pleasure to meet you too. And, I'm just here having fun with my friends, and this was around 2010, probably around it's when Arson Anthem, I think is the name of the band he had, with Hank the Third, when they first got that together. And he was playing, he was doing a showcase there. But, I thought he was just going to be like, Josh was talking, I thought he was going to be a dickhammer, but he was really a nice guy. I mean, he was very humble, very, understood that, he's at that level now. And I think with Dimebag, one thing that, I'm good friends with a guy named Andy Hott from Zero King. Some people know him, some people don't, but we talk a lot about these type of things. And I think Dimebag really thought when his next band came out that they were going to be on the level of Pantera, and they weren't,
Damage Plan.
And I think Pantera would eventually got back together because Dimebag liked mass crowds, What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I think we all were just agreeing that there's no question. I think that had they still been alive, they would have been back together before now, probably.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would hope so. And I met Phil too at Rock on the Range, and man, I was shaking. Let me tell you something. Rock on the Range, when it was called Rock on the Range, was a boot camp for me. Josh was there with me because I was like, I don't know if I should go talk to them or not. And I was like, good, it's Phil and Sammo. I'm fucking going right now. I'm going right now. And I was like, get a photo with you, man? He's like, yeah, absolutely.
I think a big thing for him too is just getting off the heroin and stuff. Because I did see one of those shows when we went on a big racist rant, in the 90s. It was for like 20 minutes, and it was on the Southern Trendkill tour. Actually, ironically enough, Anthrax was opening that. It was when John Bush was in the band, which they were on fire.
Oh, nice.
But then I saw him before that with probably the craziest Pantera show I saw. It was them and White Zombie, and it was at a hockey arena, and people started pulling up the floor and exposing the ice, and that made for a pretty dangerous pit. But the Phil you see now seems more lucid, and I really think a lot of it was just getting off the drugs, And even that rant, he was drunk out of his mind at that.
Yeah.
So he might just be one of those people that, and he's sober now. He sounds great. So
yeah,
I've had Phil on the podcast several times, and he's an open book. I mean, he's just a down to earth guy when it comes down to it. He likes music just like we do. And I'm like Josh and Mike. When I first met him, I was like, oh, buddy, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? But he's like, man, instantly just calmed me down. He was so cool about it. So
cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of like Dave. I saw Pantera. I had the fortune 5, 6, 7 times. And one thing that people do not talk about Pantera live shows, and for being honest, if you've seen them several times, Dave, I bet you know what I'm about to say. Some nights Phil was on fire.
Josh, you cut out.
Other nights, am I good now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I cut out.
I think it was.
I can hear
you. Okay. Let me start over. Some nights Phil was on fire, and when he was on fire, Pantera was the greatest band on the planet. But there were other nights Phil kind of sucked, and he would talk for minutes and minutes between songs, and he would talk so long that Dimebag would just cut it, or Vinnie Paul, whoever was leading the next song, would just cut him off and just go into the damn song, and just literally cut him off mid sentence.
Hey,
and I seen
my voice. I can't hear nobody. Something happened.
Huh?
We can hear everybody.
We've all got each other. We don't need John. So anyway, moving on.
I think, I know what you're saying, Josh, and it's crazy, like to see them in that. It's kind of like how I remember Stone Temple Pilots. I remember being a lot like that too. If Scott was together, that band was untouchable. But when they were bad, they were bad.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't hear nobody. I don't know what happened.
We all can hear each other.
We can hear
Josh, so we don't
everybody.
know.
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
You know the one thing though.
I can't hear nobody. Oh my God! You got to be kidding me!
Uh-oh.
It worked, and I heard just and it quit.
Well, we will carry on a little bit while John tries to figure it out. But
Hello?
yeah,
You
no
guys talk
doubt
amongst
that,
yourself while I try to fix
at the
this.
very least, yeah, we are.
Way to go!
At the very least, the Pantera tribute has at least brought a lot of excitement to the world of metal. Because I'm pumped for it. I don't understand how anyone could see that crowd reacting the way they are and not be excited for it.
Yeah.
Mike,
Can I ask a question? I just want to ask a question because I really want to talk about this when John talked about it. Why on the earth are we calling it a tribute when I can count 100 bands that doesn't have original members in it? I just seen Foreigner play a sold-out show in Pikeville, Kentucky, and not one original member. Leonard Skinner, not one original member. I mean, why is it that we have to say Pantera tribute just because Dimebag and Vinny are not in the band? There's 2 members that made that band successful. There's no reason to call it a tribute. It should be called Pantera's, plain and simple. And when people say tribute, it just gets to me because it's like, I know for a fact, I just seen Warrant play, and Janie Lane ain't in the band. And Janie Lane wrote every song in the band ever had. There's no reason to call it a Pantera tribute. I mean, it just don't make no sense.
Didn't Skinner even have like some kind of agreement that if they got less than 3 original band members, or was it 2 or 3? Yeah.
no, I'm doing 3 in my hand.
I think he was kind of cut out there, Josh. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if they didn't have 3 original, they were supposed to just dismantle, So
Isn't that
But I
what
mean-
it is with Artemis right now? He's suing the band for going on still.
That's been for a long time. I'm back.
Can
Yes.
I be
Hey,
a
there he
know-it-all? There he is. Can I be a know-it-all and answer both of those questions, Mike? I'll start with Leonard
What's
Skinner.
that?
So I'm going to be a know-it-all and answer both of these questions for you. I'm going to start with Leonard Skinner, which is his question. A buddy of mine, Joey Huffman, played keyboards for Leonard Skinner back about 8 years ago. He's from here in Pikeville. He lives in Atlanta now. He filled in when the piano player had a hip replacement. And we talked about the 3 original members rule. He said they told him as long as there's a Van Zant to front the band, they will be Leonard Skinner, period. So while they do have that handshake agreement of 3 members, like management already knows, they don't give a shit as long as there's a Van Zant to front the group.
Yeah.
And yeah, as far as Pantera goes, Mike, you're irritated that they call it a reunion, not a tribute. I think that's just a matter of, they're not trying to say we're going to go forward and do new music. Like, I don't think anyone plans to write together or anything like that. It's not a band that I don't think they plan to do this for a long time. 2, I think it's just that metalheads, we are sensitive, and a lot of metalheads think it's disrespectful to the brothers. And I think people say tribute just to be sensitive to those that don't care for it.
Well,
I
yeah,
love
that was basically Vinny and Dime's band. That was a band years before Phil got involved. And
Sure.
Early
Well,
on.
yeah, I understand that. But, Terry said, who was original member of the band, said that he gave him his blessing too, I mean, it's like saying, okay, so are we not going to go see Motley Crue because Mick Mars is in the band? Or are we not going to see Motley Crue because Vince Neil sucks? I mean,
But
come on.
let me ask you
think
this
about
though.
it.
So if Sammy Hagar goes out with Michael Anthony and calls it Van Halen, are you going to a Van Halen concert?
Yeah.
But we all went to see Gary Sharon when he was in Van Halen.
Yeah, but it was.
I'm saying, is Michael Anthony and Sammy Hagar, is that Van Halen if they go out together?
Yes, definitely. They were bigger
I see.
with that Van Halen lineup.
They were.
I'm not sure they could have gotten the sign off from Vinny and Dime's estates if it was called Pantera. Like there's probably
I think they did.
you can do this, but you can't call it.
I mean, if we're all sitting here and we don't believe that those guys, the states ain't getting no money, that's crazy. That Dimebag's estate and Vinny's estate getting money.
Yeah.
I could totally and I don't know any of these people, but I could see there being some bad blood about calling it Pantera, or there being some stipulations in there. Because I know, wasn't Vinny like adamant about never doing this again? And
Exactly.
you know, well, Dime obviously wasn't around
Oh,
long enough to have an
Vinny,
opinion, but
Vinny was too. Vinny was adamant about it. You know, Vinny was like, it's not a Pantera. He didn't want it to be that. And I've seen many videos of the interviews with him saying that. Folks, I see a lot of people out there. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I know these other guys appreciate it too. So if you have anything to say or any questions, pop them in here. Please pop them in here. And if you are putting them in here and not coming through, message me on my personal Facebook and let me know, because everybody should be able to get right on in here. So there we go. I'm going to move along for this topic because it's getting a little hot in here. You know, I understand people's not going to agree with, everybody, and that's cool. That's cool about it. It happens. But I'm moving on to my boys, Metallica. I was shocked that they came out with their new single, Lux Eterna, something like that. Anyway, off their upcoming album, 72 Seasons, that's coming out April 4th of next year. So, I'm just going to say I was very shocked, but it was kind of in between for me, though. When I know Megadeth was putting out their new stuff, and here comes Metallica with Lux Eterna. I'm like, what the crap? I mean, are we competing?
Countdown to the Black Album all over again.
I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I like it. It's Metallica. So
I don't see it as competitive when you consider that Megadeth puts out 5 albums to Metallica's 1. I don't see that as being competitive at all.
I agree.
I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and say this up front. John knows this. Megadeth over Metallica all day for me. I love Megadeth. I love Metallica too. Don't get me wrong, of course, but I like Megadeth.
This new album from Megadeth is a banger. I don't care what anybody said. If you can't get into that,
it might be on my top 10.
Yeah, it might be.
I have to go with Metallica over Megadeth, unless Megadeth has Dave Ellefson in the band. If he's not in the band, then it's not Megadeth to me. And you all can say that's a double standard when I was talking about Pantera, but that's just me, okay? I mean, I've interviewed Dave like 4 times in my life, and I like Dave. I think he's a great dude. But no shit. I think the new Metallica is going to be great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to this. So let me ask you guys this: would you guys like to have seen something from Dave and James put together like they were talking about? I mean, would you like to see them just bury the hatchet and move on? I mean, good God, they're in their 50s and 80s, something like that. I don't know, but I mean, come on. I mean,
Well, I feel like one thing that I'm excited about that Metallica track too. I mean, that sounds like a Motorhead meets Diamond Head, like new wave of British heavy metal thing. That's awesome. And I know it was probably, I'm sure there was some editing going on, but I feel like in my top 10, I thought a lot about this production wise. Like, it didn't sound like things were like overly kind of quantized on it. Like, it felt live. And I feel like that's really missing with metal right now. Like the last couple of years, things have been so edited in. I play like industrial metal, but like it's supposed to sound like an angry robot beating on a guitar. But for some of that stuff, I feel like they've lost some of the life. So I was really excited that it doesn't feel like that's happening with Metallica. Like there are some like rough around the edges things I heard in that. I mean, it's obviously produced as good as anything's going to be. And I love Megadeth too, and like. My favorite Megadeth album of all time is Euthanasia. And I think it's because that one's like, it sounds like those dudes are all in the room just jamming those tunes out. And that's the type of stuff I really like, bands like that. So I'm really excited that the Metallica album sounds like it's going to have that kind of vibe.
There better not be 72 songs on it, I'll tell you that right now. 72 seasons.
They put track listing out. I think there's like 12 on it.
I must not have got that email. So
They're really embracing the whole putting punctuation marks on things. Like a couple songs are like questions, other ones an exclamation point.
My favorite Megadeth album is Countdown to Extinction. I mean, I can listen to that album from start to finish and not skip a song. I don't know, man. That album is just perfect in my ear. You know,
Mine is Cryptic Writings.
really.
That is a great album, man.
It's a great album, man.
That, like they're deep cuts and they don't play them live.
Yeah.
Like
that's like the underrated album of the catalog, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to say Peace Sales.
Peace Sales. Ooh, that's a good one too, man. That's a very good one. That's like when they were thrashing. I mean, it's like you got Megadeth before, you know, what they're doing now, and you got Metallica, what they did before, what they're doing now. So
that's what's so funny though. If you listen to like The Sick, the Dying, the Dead, and then put on Peace Sells, you can really hear how one was very much like that was Gar playing, and you can hear where he gets a little ahead and behind the beat, and like the new ones, it's like everything's like super computerized. I don't know. It's strange for me to hear a band like that I know from that era kind of put through that filter, you know?
All right, Salem's Crown, jump in here, guys. Come on.
Man, I don't know. I don't know that I've got I love Megadeth. I don't know that I have a favorite album, but you know, I jumped from Tulamon to Hangar 18, and I've got stuff spread out on playlists that, you know, I mean, Symphony of Destruction. I mean, I don't think I could really just put it on one.
Yeah, I'm kind of just a few kind of song guys on Megadeth. I like them, but you know, they're just not really one of my favorites. You know.
I like Dusty, man. I could like talk to him about it. I'm like, you like this song? This one? I don't really care. Okay.
You know what's funny though? It feels like Megadeth.
I just don't want to, you know, like just jump in and be like, yeah, I don't really, you know.
I'm like Dusty. I've got my songs, but you know, I can't come in on get deep in the conversation on the albums, you know.
Yeah.
If Dusty don't jump full in, he just like tips the water. I'm like, I don't know, man. Okay.
Well, it feels like Megadeth is like, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but it feels like they're bigger now than they've ever been. Like at least that last tour they did with Lamb of God, it was like they're playing sheds, and I was on that Megadeth cruise. Like they have their own cruise now, and like and I think there's a lot of people there's a lot more people now that are kind of like what you guys, the Salem's Crown guys are saying, that it's kind of more this with that band than like maybe in the 80s where it was like, if you like Megadeth, you're that weird kid that smoked out behind the well, now it's cool. It's great because, you know, they're great. Like you guys are saying, there's so many different, that's one of those bands that's been through a lot of eras,
and it's really probably, I think it's what Josh said there a minute ago. They've come out with like 5 albums to Metallica's one. I mean, regardless if you like them or not, I'll say I like Megadeth. I can't say I'm a Megadeth fan. I can just say I like them. But if they're putting the work in, regardless, they're going to draw attention. I mean,
and Dave mentioned them being bigger now than ever. I mean, Dystopia won a Grammy, right? Yeah. Which was their first Grammy ever. By the way, they played Metallica when they walked to the fucking stage to accept them. It's the most uncool thing ever.
Man, I gotta say, I follow
all people Dave Mustaine, you know. Like
if you follow Dave Mustaine on Twitter or anything, like he's picking fights with with people like every day.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he's really going after it every day.
That used to be the whole reason you'd go to a Megadeth show, just to see if Dave Mustaine gets to fight with somebody in the crowd. And like most of the time he did. Like he'd stop the show and just start picking on some guy.
But you know, also I was gonna say real quick, John, The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead was their highest charting album of all time. It did across the world. So,
but here's the $1 million question: if Metallica approached Dave and said, "Hey, We're gonna play Kill 'Em All from start to finish. Would you be a part of it? And Kirk not do it, or they can share whatever. Would you think he would do it? But if plus he got a cut of it.
Yes.
He
Yeah, of
played with
course.
the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, didn't he?
No, he did that 30th
What was-
anniversary show.
It was something. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
That was sweet, man. He got up there.
So he's
played
done it before.
Lord, and
After that big four, I say yes.
Okay. Because that was like burning the back of my mind. Like, I wonder if Dave would actually do a set of Kill 'Em All, front to start to finish, and go on a little tour with this, and see how it goes. I would love to see that.
yeah.
But he would probably
I
say,
think
"This is my song." Yeah.
The one thing I do want to say, and as metalheads, we're so like, we're peculiar. So if I say I prefer Megadeth, it's like, oh, he hates Metallica. No, I fucking love Metallica. Like everybody else, like I fucking love Metallica.
That's
but I
it.
will say, but at the end of the day, Dave don't fucking need them.
No.
The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead came in #3 Billboard. He was winning Grammys on his own. In a way, what he's done on his own is almost more impressive than what he could have done inside Metallica.
There you go. I 1000% agree with you. I think what he's done with Megadeth, going away from Metallica, man, he has made his name. He's made that band.
His band.
He's done what he's set out to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what should happen is
be a Megadeth.
That tour of Kill 'Em All.
Yeah.
Dave Mustaine and James should get in a fist fight before every show. And regardless of who wins, like the loser of the fist fight has to set out the show.
We're canceled.
Yeah.
Man, I don't like James's odds in that.
I do too. But I mean, like,
Dave's like a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
But at some point, Dave's going to learn his moves. He's going to know how to react. I mean, I feel that maybe about mid-tour that like Dave would get a text.
Dude, I had Dave on the podcast many years ago when I first started. Like, he was my first, big interviews of 2012 when I first started. He was one of the big ones. And
he was like your first megastar. Because I remember I didn't really know you so well then, John. But when I found out you had Dave Mustaine coming on, I was like, fuck. And that was, I think that was the first episode I listened to. Was that.
First, it was Doyle from the Misfits, and I have all kinds of stories with all these guys because I couldn't. Here's the deal: I couldn't call Doyle because he wanted me to call him to schedule and everything. So I'd reach out to my buddy Mike Couch, and I was like, I was stuttering. I couldn't talk. I was like, Doyle, call Doyle interview, and Mike's like, calm down. What is it? I just finally had to type it to him. He's like, yeah, I'll call him, and here's the number. So he calls Doyle, and Doyle's like, this isn't John. And Mike's like, no, he's scared shitless. He can't talk. He can't even comprehend it. And I'm surprised he did the interview, but he did the interview. And then I believe after Doyle, I want to say
let me just jump in on you real quick before you leave Doyle. So,
okay.
For Doyle one night. Look at John's face right now, everybody. Look at him. He knows what I'm ready to fucking say.
I screwed up.
I heard this story.
So we're opening for Doyle. John's supposed to come and interview him, and John calls me and says, "Man, I can't make it. Will you cover me on this Doyle interview?" So you apparently have an issue with fucking Doyle. I don't know what you're so intimidated about, but you apparently have a fucking complex.
I couldn't get out of bed.
So I said, "Well, we're going on about 90 minutes before him. There should be time that I can interview him after our set. Let me get focused on our set." So it's all worked out. Go on Doyle's bus at 9:00.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for those that don't know this, listen, he's ripped like a fucking brick shit house. Yes. He's about 6'4" and he's huge. And at the time, I was 85 pounds heavier than I am right now. I was just a big old fat fuck walking on this bus, right?
Jesus, I must be a monstrous fuck.
I go up the steps, and Doyle looks at me, and he's very calm. He says, "Where's your questions?" And I was like, "Man, I'm winging this from my buddy. I don't know. I'm a pro. This will be great. Don't worry about it. Not a problem." Look at John right now, everybody. Just look at John. So I sit down there, and I have audio still to prove this. And I said, "So, new album out, blah, 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 blah. How's reception been?"
Good.
I was like, fuck. So, been on tour. You know, how's the tour? Da 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 da. You've been out doing this? Tour's been good. He just sits there, and I'm like, fuck me running. So then I said, fuck it. And I threw the questions out, and I just started bullshitting with him. He found out I was a Randy Rhoads freak. He opened up to me through time. And he finally got a little better. He had Paul Stanley photos all over the tour bus. And I was like, are you a big Paul Stanley fan? Yeah, I love Paul Stanley. And I was like, okay, it's random, but okay. And so I ended up doing this interview. It was shitty as hell. And I get done, and I said, hey, can I get a photo real quick? And he's like, yeah. So we get a picture. And he sees that I have Randy Rhoads. That's when he saw I had Randy Rhoads on my phone. Oh, you're Randy Rhoads? And I love Randy Rhoads. We start talking Randy Rhoads. So then I'm like, well, he's gotten cooler, and I wish I could just redo this interview, but fuck it. So then I leave. Talk to another girl who did the interview before I did. There was a fucking list of questions that he sent out that we were supposed to ask. So when he raise your fucking questions, that's the questions he wanted me to ask that John never fucking sent to me.
I didn't get
on his bus without the fucking questions.
That's the thing. I did.
Head off.
Did that have to do with like them not wanting to? He didn't want to be asked like Misfits questions or something.
100%. And John, John, tell him, what did I do?
You asked him a Misfit question. He's like, we're not answering those questions.
I asked him if he's going to be involved in the reunion. He said, we can't discuss that right now. You should have already known that. Sorry, didn't. Thanks, John.
Sorry. Hey, I still love you, man.
Hey, if that ever happens again, Josh. If that ever happens again, Josh, what you ask him before you do the interview, because I don't read no questions. If anybody's seen my interviews, all I say is, "Hey, is there something you can't talk about?" 9 times out of 10, they're like, "No, we'll talk about anything." There have been a few people that have said stuff on interviews and go, "Hey, man, can you edit that out?" And I'm like, I don't edit nothing. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And I'll tell you a funny story. So I did an interview with JD from Black Label. Well, he said something I guess he wasn't supposed to say. He says, can you edit that out? And I'm like, man, I don't edit stuff. He's like, send it to me and I'll edit it for you. And then they started doing it. Then he started the true story. Then he started doing the new Black Label Society album. And I'm like, did you ever get that interview edited? He's like, no. He goes, I guess we're just going to have to do another one later or something. I ain't got time to edit it. And I'm like, crap, what the heck? So,
oh no.
Yeah, the best thing to do is
well, I've got a Black Label story.
John,
you do.
Tell you.
Josh is sitting there laughing already. Mike, I got a good Black Label story. Boy, I just need to sit down here and have me a weekly talk show about stuff that's happened on BODS Mayhem Hour.
Oh God, you could go on forever.
Yeah, this is funny. So I get to interview Dario, Jeff, and JD. I'm like, all right. Now I've got to interview everybody in Black Label side. Anybody and everybody that's in Black Label, I got the interview. So evidently JD didn't know there was a bed in the background. And he's like, you could like get a girl to get on your bed back there and you get more subscribers. And Dario just like kind of just like snickers. I said, see, look, man, you got Dario laughing his ass off. JD's like, bro, you're playing, man. Get a girl back there to get you more subscribers. I said, oh my God.
John, you have selective memory. That is not what he said. I watched it.
I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I don't know what he said.
He said if you want to get your here's what he said. If you want to get your numbers up, you need to do your show from that fucking bed back there, is what he told you. That you should lay in that bed and do your interviews from that bed if you want to get your numbers up. That's what he said.
See, man. Look at Josh Crumb. I tell you what he said, really. I truthfully, man,
I was dying.
I know you would. I guarantee you would.
I loved it.
Oh, and then plus, go ahead and tell him about the album, about Hell Yeah album. I said, ooh, what's his new album? Oh, he knows. What you laugh. Good Lord, this turned on me now.
What was that album called? I can't even remember now.
Undeniable. Was it Undeniable?
Undeniable. And the font was weird on the album cover. And John called it Undeniable or something. Eden Able. He said it's called Eden Able. He's like interviewing these people. He's like, your new album, Eden Abel.
I didn't say that.
And I was so calm. I said, John, I think it's called Undeniable. And he's like, oh, fuck me, man.
Hey, you know, it's not a good podcast unless I screw something up.
Yeah.
Just like today when I interviewed Joe and James with their new band called The Mayor. Joe's from the Ice Nine Kills. That was.
Oh, I saw you posted about that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we talked about him playing at Appalachia Wireless Arena on the.
I saw that show.
Yeah, Mike, what the hell was that show called? I totally forgot about it.
Trinity of Terror.
Yeah, Trinity of Terror. And he was talking about for 8 hours. He's like, for 8 hours, I sat in the green room doing nothing. The Appalachia
Yeah.
He's like, I did nothing. But yeah,
he could have got out. He could have got out and enjoyed our fair city like everybody else fucking does when they come here. Fuck him if that's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, Willie Nelson sat in the park and sang songs on his acoustic guitar that fucking morning. How cool is that? He could do the same thing.
That is cool.
Man, I touched
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You're in the park swinging and Willie Nelson's over there burning one and singing. That'd be fucking awesome. Yeah.
Willie Nelson arrested today in the city of Pikeville.
I will say my buddy Thomas Price, who passed away recently, he was our roadie forever.
Yeah,
he worked
Lord.
at Appalachian for a while there too, and they had Godsmack down there. And Sully Ernest said, "What's the closest coffee house?" And Thomas seen him for about a 2-mile walk up the road to Speedway to the gas station. That's all we had. It was like the gas stations.
God.
So Sully was walking up the bypass, to the Speedway.
Speedway.
Well, somebody got, oh man,
Gourmet coffee at its best.
Anyway, we're moving on. Let's see, who is it? Stone Family 64. Good Lord, I'm going to have me some glasses or something. Or big
Glasses on.
I know I got glasses on, fool, but I'm just saying.
For those of you who don't know,
we are doing good.
John's asked for a decade. I can't help it. It's my favorite pastime. He's wearing glasses. I need to get some glasses.
Good Lord. Look, if it ain't a good time with me, sorry, I used to live in a boring life. Because trust me. Oh God. Anyway,
that would have been funnier, John, if you was on the bed.
Don't you start.
Get on the bed and say, "Look, if it ain't
get on the bed."
No. Don't turn this around on me. What the hell? No.
Just sit up, face it.
Just like kind of like,
John.
I'd be like, if it ain't a good time with me,
You gotta get some lava lamps back there, though.
You can just hang the mic. You can just hang the mic from your ceiling fan. And
It's gonna be twisted around like that.
You'd have to put it on like a slow setting. I mean,
Have the camera on your ceiling and
have like a disco bowl.
This podcast has went straight to hell. This is one 360 I didn't want to go to. But anyway, I need to make a blooper reel of like all the stuff I do.
You could have it come down from the ceiling like Mr. Kennedy can go, Mr. Marshall.
Jimmy.
No.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Okay. So I will have a ticket giveaway announcement later before this incredibly horrible podcast ends. We're going to get into our well, no, we're not going to get into our I did 14 albums, guys. I'm sorry. So if y'all did 10, that's fine.
I could barely get 10. Okay.
I didn't barely get anything. So anyway,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about the
Been a bad year for rock.
Again, if you go back to that bed, you might have more of a chance of getting something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do. I'll take a picture of me on that bed and send out a PR request.
Just don't do nothing boring. Like, don't be sitting on the bed crisscross applesauce. I mean, you need to work. You know what I mean?
You have
Listen,
handles around him.
Yeah.
Underwear and combat boots.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BODS Mayhem Hour.
My phone is blowing up.
When I heard it was called John the Bod, that's exactly what I pictured. John the Bod.
Okay.
Right the whole time, John.
Anyway, we're moving on. People that have died this past year in 2022. Okay, so Meatloaf is one that kind of shocked me, but didn't shock me. Jerry Lee Lewis. We had Christine McVie from Fleetwood Mac, Andy Fletcher from Depeche Mode, Keaton Pierce from Too Close Too Much, Alec John Such from Bon Jovi, founding bassist, D.H. Pellegro from Dead Kennedys, John Hartman from the Doobie Brothers, he's the founding drummer, Keith Levine, he from The Clash, he's a founding guitarist from The Clash, Stuart Anstis, I hope I said that right, because somehow grabbed ex Cradle of Filth guy, Tim Furyk, Gavin Dance, and Trevor Strand, the Black Dahlia murder. That one took me by surprise in a way. Frederick Johansson from Ex Dark Tranquility, Paul Studdard from Diecast, Bob Heathcote, Ex Suicidal Tendencies, Alan White, ex Yes drummer, and Taylor Hawkins from the Foo Fighters. For you guys, which one sticks out the most for you, or even shocks you possibly?
The Taylor one. Is just
Taylor for sure.
Yeah.
Taylor Hawkins. I saw the Foo Fighters at Riverbend like 2 months before that happened.
Wow.
So yeah, I was pretty surprised about that one. Yeah.
So for those that don't know, little Ozzy for you. Taylor Hawkins performs on 3 songs on Patient Number 9, Ozzy's new record. But the even better news is there's 3 more songs that are unreleased still with Taylor Hawkins on them that Andrew Watt says will be released at a later date. So that's something to look forward to for Taylor Hawkins fans and for Ozzy fans.
Good. Yeah. Very good.
Probably have Zach Wilde on guitar, so that's pretty cool shit.
But you gotta say, we did find out with Taylor dying that his son's a hell of a drummer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that night, like there was, and I know they worked that into their show, but there was songs that he sung a few songs. He was a huge part. It wasn't just Dave Grohl up there, it was just, he came out front and he was a large part of that Foo Fighters set that night. And, I was surprised that, that happened. I'd never seen the Foo Fighters live and I'd always wanted to. And, of course they came a little bit, near home here. So, but I was really blown away that to hear the news.
I seen Foo Fighters a very long time ago. This is on the Foo Fighters, Chili Peppers, and Muse on the Californication tour for Chili Peppers.
I saw that tour. Was that like 2000?
Somewhere around there. Yeah, 2000, 2001.
City. Yeah, and that was Chili Peppers is on top of that. That was
God, yeah. That was a phenomenal album too. Watching Taylor on drums, man, and just that whole set from the Foo Fighters was just, God, it's so good.
Yeah.
And now
I
got to see the Foo Fighters in 2010 at South by Southwest, and they were a surprise band because they were promoting that documentary.
Yeah.
And they showed up and they played 3 hours straight of Foo Fighters material, and I waited in line for 4.5 hours to get into that show. It was well worth it. Well worth it.
I'd say so.
I saw him in 2018. I saw him in 2018 at in Jacksonville, Florida, at the what's that festival called? John, I went for you and covered it. It was can I think of the festival name? The one in Jacksonville. But anyway, they headlined one night, Ozzy another night. That was Ozzy's opening night of his farewell tour, and then Avenged Sevenfold headlined a night. That was the 3 headliners. But it was cool to see him, and we got to meet Taylor after he came out backstage.
I lost my sound. I don't know why.
John. But Taylor came out and talked to everybody that was standing backstage there. There was a gate, and he walked back there, and Dave Grohl came over and asked us, he said, "Did everybody enjoy the show?" Then he kind of took back off. But Taylor sat there and took pictures with everybody. He seemed to be really down there. Cool guy. Yeah.
I saw them. They played at Wrigley Field here in Chicago about 3-4 years ago. And yeah, it was awesome. That's a hard place to fill, you know, or to like actually play to the whole place. And yeah, they did it. Then I saw that one show John and I were talking about. But I don't know. I guess I wasn't even aware that guy had a drug problem. But once he died, they were talking about all
I lost my sound again. I'm working on it. I don't know what's going on with this. This has never done this before till tonight.
The festival I was at was called Welcome to Rockville, by the way. It just hit me. But Dave, I was at Wrigley Field and saw AC/DC once. Did you go see AC/DC when they were there for the Ball Breaker tour?
No, I remember that though. And,
I was there at that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, the only I've seen, this is gonna sound very non-metal, but I've seen Fish and Foo Fighters, the only bands I've seen at Wrigley. So it's it's a weird place to go see shows because
stadium shows aren't really that fun. I don't think.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, for those of you, well, you know, I mean, there's nowhere to really park. So, and I live out in the suburbs, and you know, the train situation is just a gong show right there, trying to get into it. So it's cool to like do it to say you saw it there, but in terms of being like a practical place to see shows, you get over it pretty quick. Same with Soldier. And that's my big thing, honestly, with seeing Metallica on this next tour is they're playing at Soldier Field. And it's like 4 hours to get in and out of that place. And Metallica is one of those bands, like, I'm excited about this album, but I've seen them so many times at this point. It's like, you know.
Josh has seen Ozzy 80 times.
82.
I'm kidding. Josh has seen Ozzy, what, 27 times?
23. Yeah.
Good Lord.
That's probably about right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
now we can move on after I got my audio. That's twice it's happened. I don't understand what's happening. What's going on?
It's the Salem's Crowns guys, man. They're screwing with you. They're doing all that.
I got a button.
Yeah. Oh, y'all get
on the bed. They have a dump button down there.
Yeah. It's just like, let's just knock John's audio out. And
we're known for having sound issues.
Yeah.
Get on the bed. That's good. Get on the bed, and I'll be banned from all these other platforms. Anyway, so let's get our top 10. I'm going to do top 14. I did 14 because I just couldn't do 10. I'm sorry. So Motionless in White comes in at 14, Scoring the End of the World. That's their new album, which is pretty good. I like it a lot. Fit for an Autopsy, What the Future Holds. Meshuggah with Immutable. Josh is going to kill me when I say this, but I got Ozzy coming in at 11. Patient number 9. You know, I mean, for me, I like Ozzy a lot, but this album, it's good, but it just wasn't in anything. So I mean, he made the list, like Jericho. You made the list. Anyway, Emulation, Acts of God, coming at number 10. Number 9, Kardashev, Liminal Right. It's number 9. That's it. Alter Bridge comes in at number 8 with Pawns and Kings. Autopsy comes in at number 7 with Morbidity and Triumphant. 6, Conjure with Pathos. And Conjure's been on the show. They were on the show here several times.
But Ozzy hasn't been on your show. That's why you fucking put him over Ozzy. I fucking see how you work. It's okay. Whatever. Eddie Trunk. You're Eddie Trunk. Fuck off.
Oh my god!
You're trying to be like Eddie Trunk. Ozzy won't come on your shows. He want to badmouth him and Paul Stanley. It's okay. Go ahead.
Oh my god! Okay, number 5, Under Oath, Voyeurist. I hope I said that right. I probably did. Number 4, Lamb of God, Omens, and this was hard even for me to put this at number 3 because I was on the side about it. Ghost, Impera. 2 is Slipknot, The End So Far, and then my number 1 is Megadeth, The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead, and John the Bod Rocks, best podcast ever. Anyway, that album comes in at number 1 for me. I know everybody's going to be different, but that was number 1 for me. Anybody next want to follow that? Gosh,
I'll go. I only had 14 though. I only had 10.
that's fine. I screwed that up.
And I feel weird I didn't include Megadeth on it, but I guess I don't know. I like old school Megadeth stuff. But number 10, I had Meshuggah Immutable. Sort of off the metal path, but I really love that Devin Townsend album, Lightwork. It's very cool. Number 8, I had Slipknot, The End So Far. 7, I put Ozzy, Patient Number 9. I like that just because of all the cool guitar. He got Jeff Beck and Eric Clapton, and
it was like almost every song there was a different guitarist in there.
Yeah, and Tony. So I just, as a guitar guy, I thought that was
same.
Tony Iommi was on that too, right, guys?
He was.
Yeah, and it was like a more of a black.
Whose songs was it? I know there was more than one Tony Iommi was on there.
Wow, that's cool.
Now we know why I didn't make John's list. I'm sorry, Dave. He didn't even know Tony Iommi was on the fucking album. He didn't even know.
Yeah,
now we know
he was fucking put out.
Now we know why he didn't make his fucking top 10. All right, whatever.
I don't know even how to pronounce this band because a buddy of mine gave it to me and I've been jamming on him. And going back to what we were talking about with the this is produced like a 90s thrash album. Is that Allegheny, the Damnum?
Close enough.
But I've been listening to that all week. And then I really like that Amorphous Halo. Number 4, I have Byzantine Black Sea Codex. Number 3, the Lamb of God album, Almonds. Number 2, that new KMFDM Hyena is very old school industrial. Number 1, and this is just because I'm a huge fan of this band. They're kind of all into metal, and I think it's awesome. They put an album out, and I just saw them, and it was an amazing show. Is that new Porcupine Tree Closure Continuation is killer.
Who's next? I won't let Josh Crumb go last because he's got it. I'm sure he's got a. Oh my! I've got to wait for this one. Might go.
Who's next?
We gonna go?
Yeah, we can do it.
Mike, you go.
I get it. I can go next, I guess.
Oh, okay.
All right, so don't chastise me for this list, okay?
Oh no. Josh only does that to me.
Okay, so number 10 is Striper, The Final Battle.
That is right.
Number 7 is Five Finger Death Punch with Afterlife. Number 8 is Nickelback with Get Rolling. Number 7, which the reason I picked this is because I'm a huge TRX fan, and that is Def Leppard Diamond Star Halo. Number 6 is called Buffalo Revisited. And the reason why I picked it is it's a band from Australia that was like the precursor to Black Sabbath. They toured with Black Sabbath in Australia, and their lead singer and me became friends like 2 years ago during the pandemic, and I helped him get this album, Volcanic Rock Live, on Ripple Music. Number 5 is this band here, Zero King. Brand new album just came out, American Savior, and it is absolutely amazing. I've already heard the unreleased mixed new version of Drugs Will Keep Us Together, which is amazing. And I got to tell you, if you're going to be waiting for another album to come out that'll be in the top 10 next year, it's going to be Josh Crumb, because I heard the new song and it is fucking amazing. I had to listen to it 4 times, I do believe. I think I listened to that song 4 times in the parking lot. But anyway, it's a big step for me to say that, because I love this new song's absolutely fucking amazing. It's amazing. I can't wait for it to come out and you all to hear it on January 4th.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hellstrom, Back from the Dead, Skid Row. The gang's all here because Eric Greenwald is fucking phenomenal. Number 2 would be Ozzy, Patient Number 9, and number 1 would be Slaughter at Sunrise at Slaughter Beach by Clutch, and this is a cassette, and it did come out on cassette.
Sweet.
And this new Clutch album to me is phenomenal. And you know, one thing that I was going to say is Metallica wrote this new album during quarantine, and so did Clutch. Clutch wrote this album during quarantine too. So I don't know if you've all heard Slaughter at Sunrise Beach, but it is, or Sunrise at Slaughter Beach. I'm sorry, it's absolutely phenomenal.
I'll have to check that out because I'd love that book of Bad Decisions. That was sweet.
There's
stuff out. Clutch has always done it.
Amazing album.
The one thing, real quick, if I can jump on that just real fast. The one thing about Metallica, I mean, I know I'm jumping around. The thing that blew me away, and I think all you guys will agree, they're like the biggest metal band in the world. How do they keep it a fucking secret? No one knew they were recording. No one knew. And that blows my mind.
That's a good question, man.
Drop that track, and everybody's like, "What? New Metallica?" I thought it was fake at first.
Well, that goes without saying, because I don't know if y'all
nobody even questioned it. They're like, we're walking around with masks. Nobody even asked anything. I'm like, okay.
I don't know if you all
the new album.
They do.
Do any of you all listen to country music at all?
Oh yeah, very much.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Kane Brown had a new baby and nobody knew about it. I mean, they completely kept it secret that his wife was pregnant. I mean, completely kept it secret. And then it was like, oh, Kane's in the hospital having a new baby.
Well, this is David Bowie did the same thing when he came out with that.
Oh yeah.
Album. When was
his last album? Yeah.
No, it was the one right before. Like, no, he was like the Willy Wonka of metal, like or hard rock disappeared, and then like suddenly this video showed up. And I remember. Oh yeah.
Go ahead. I'm so sorry, man.
Oh, and I actually played with some people on our last Derision Cult album that were part of that, and they all had to sign like NDAs and everything, and it was super, super locked down. So,
Jesus,
it's doable.
But you know, you typically have photos of the band walking into the studio, things like that. You know, when AC/DC was recording, I guess it was the newest record. There was photos of them smoking out back, something. You know.
See, I'm like Josh. No one knew about Metallica, and when I saw it, I was like, huh? I was like, well, what's is this legit? Is this something, just clickbait?
Yeah,
it was shocking.
The same way.
Yeah, right, exactly, Mike. It was kind of shocking to me. I was like, whoa.
It was kick-ass, though, right?
My God, yes. And funny enough, it was released right after Megadeth had released one of their latest songs.
That's like why they did it. Like, we were going to sound this till next year.
I think, that plays in the back of my mind like, was this strategic?
That same thing happened with Rust in Peace. I remember, like, that came out, and it was like and that was like Megadeth's, like, they started getting really big, and then it was like a few months later, the Black Album came out.
There you go, John. Right? You get it, John. You got another conspiracy theory to talk about. Did Metallica do it to screw over Megadeth?
I mean,
Metallica's motivation to write an album is if.
I'll talk about this all night long. I'll talk about this all night long. Go ahead, Salem's Crown. It's your all's turn now. I'll talk about this all night long.
All right. We're gonna do like, we got 10. But I got some hangover albums. That's what I'm going to call it. Hangover from 2021. Hangover albums. Gojira's Fortitude, Mastodon's Hushed and Grim, and Iron Maiden's Senjutsu. They some of them were later in the year, so I just wanted to mention them there. But 10, we got Zeal and Ardor. I actually saw them open for Mastodon in Nashville, but they've got a new take on some of the approach to metal with several vocalists. They got like 3 vocalists, so it's a different thing. I've got Ozzy, Patient Number 9, then Megadeth. We put Jack White next. I think that was the guitar pedal.
Yeah, he had some strange effects. Like, I mean, the tone's kind of different, but man, there's some really good songs in that album. I mean, I personally feel.
Then we got Striper, The Final Battle, Polyphia, Remember That You Will Die. The Polyphia, for me, it was mostly about Steve Vai, honestly. Yeah. Then we got Ghost, Impera, Coheed and Cambria, Vaxxus 2.
Oh, yeah, that is right.
And about Coheed and Cambria.
And the last two, man, I struggled with the last two just because I got Evergrey, A Heartless Portrait, Save Us may be my favorite song of the year. I've listened to it a billion times. If you haven't heard Save Us by Evergrey, Henrik Donhaga, it's a Swedish band, but man, they fucking kill. It's a great song, great album, Evergrey. And number one is Hammerfall, Hammer at Dawn.
Ooh, Dusty, I love Coheed and Cambria. I have nothing against Coheed, okay? So
the only thing I will say about this new album of Coheed and Cambria, and I promise I won't go on a big spree of it. I love the band. But the whole album kind of sounds like the same. Like there's not a whole lot of difference in the songs. I mean, it's I don't know. I love them. I do like the album. Compared to the other stuff I've heard this year, it has to make my list. I'm a huge fan, but I would just like a little bit more difference in there. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe slow it down, speed it up, and for sure give me more guitar solo. I know them guys has the talent. I heard it. They have proven it. Bend them fucking strings. Stop it.
If I ever put a band together and I need somebody to critique the shit out of it, I'm going to call up Dusty and say, "Here, tear it apart."
Yeah. And then after you get done, you're just going to be like, "Well, man, if they do that though, they won't even be singing. They're just going to be wailing on the guitar." And then I'm going to be like, "Yes, that's what I'm trying to say here."
Do you got your top 10, Dusty?
We kind of made it together. I'm just being honest. I couldn't even come up with 10 this year. I'm not being impressed with that.
Oh God, here we go, Mr. Crumb Down trend. Here we go, buddy. It's all lit and fired up. Let's go.
I gotta tell you, I gotta be honest. I'm kind of like my guy Dusty here, man. I was kind of in my head. I came up with 4 or 5 albums that I really enjoyed. So I went 4 or 5 Googled
year produced.
I went and enjoyed and Googled top albums. Just kind of refreshed my memory a little. I do have one Hangover album, like my man down here. I really enjoyed in 2021, Brighton by Jerry Cantrell. If no one's heard that, I strongly suggest going out and listen to that album. It's really good.
Yes.
It does have the Alice in Chains vibe, but it's different at the same time. It's really a good album.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I do have a list. I did come up with 10 after all.
Oh, well,
number 10. Kind of a shocking one for me because I'm not the biggest fan of this band. It's not really my thing, but I did kind of enjoy the Bush album, The Art of Survival. Had a couple tracks that I heard on the radio that I liked pretty good, so it helped to get on the list. Number 9 for me is Alter Bridge, Pawns and Kings. Not my favorite Alter Bridge record at all, but I love Miles Kennedy as a vocalist. I actually prefer him with Slash more than I do with Alter Bridge, but really like his voice. Number 8 for me is The Cult, Under the Midnight Sun. That's a fun band. A lot of people, I think, underestimate.
I haven't listened to that yet.
Yeah, it's a good album. I really enjoyed that. Number 7, I go with my man Mike here. Skid Row, The Gang Is All Here. If you love good, fun 80s hard rock and hair metal, this is a great fucking album. And I think fans don't want to give it a listen because it doesn't have Sebastian Bach. But our man Eric Greenwald, I think it's how you pronounce his name, he slays it. He's amazing. And I'm really happy for Skid Row that they have a comeback record that they've deserved for so long because they're a band that has turned down the big money for 2 decades and they just don't want to fuck with Bach. And clearly it's that rough to fuck with Bach because they've turned down the money and I respect that. And they have written their best album in a long time. Number 6 for me is Disturbed, Divisive. I've always liked Disturbed. I was around when they first came out at Ozfest, and you'd see them kind of grow, and they became one of the biggest bands in metal. But I fell away for a long time, and for some reason, the new album got me excited again. I don't know if it was just hangover from COVID and lockdown or whatever, but I've let myself enjoy this new one. Number 5 for me is Slipknot, The End So Far. I got to tell you a quick story on this one. I listened through the album one time, and my initial thought was, what a piece of shit. I was just sitting there like, that sucked. They had like 2 songs that were okay. And for whatever reason, I gave it a second listen. I think people this day and time are so quick to move on and not give albums repeat listens that they never get time to let it sink in anymore.
Yeah.
And it took a few listens of the new Slipknot for me to really enjoy it. And once I gave it a few more listens, I did. And it's number 5 on my list for that reason. Number 4, this is my curveball. Did anyone else here listen to the new Eddie Vedder record, Earthlink? None? Mike, you didn't listen to it? I know you're a big Pearl Jam guy. It's
I'm not a huge Pearl Jam fan. I'm a big Wood fan.
Yeah, Earthlink, huh?
Yeah, Earthlink. It's really fucking good. It's got I never realized until this record how much he sounds like Tom Petty. It sounds like a fucking Tom Petty record. It's killer. I think you guys would like it. Number 3 for me is Ghost Emperor. Probably the best thing in going to metal right now, modern metal, right? Number 2 for me, you've probably already got this figured out, Megadeth, The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead. Very proud of my guy Dave Mustaine and company. Dystopia was amazing. They won the Grammy. I think it energized them. This album for me was even a step forward. It's great all the way through. I love it. Number 9 for me, shockingly, I couldn't believe I chose it, but I couldn't resist. But it was Ozzy, Patient number 9. Super fucking proud of my guy. He's 74 years old. He's nominated for 4 fucking Grammys. The album debuted highest in the charts all around the world for any Ozzy solo record. I'm so fucking excited for him. And the album was fucking excellent. And I think the rest of the world, John, needs to listen to it and give it more chance to settle in. But in all sincerity, I mean, I think we all can agree, 74 years old, how fucking amazing, especially with his health conditions, he's able to put out such quality music with the team around, Really fucking happy with it.
Agree. I'm still happy to get an Ozzy CD. I'm still happy to get an Ozzy CD every now and again. I will not complain about that ever.
I do want to make a comment on that album, though, Josh.
Yeah, man.
And I thought about this probably the first time listening to the album. I was like, wow, this is the first album that was single titled, that my actual favorite song on the album was what it was entitled by. And to me, Patient number 9 was a fucking amazing song. Probably, I'm not going to say it's my favorite Ozzy song because I'm such a slut for Ozzy. I mean, I'm probably not as big a fan of you, Josh, but I'm close by, I promise.
Yeah.
And man, that was just from like all the years, I mean, between Randy Rhoads, Jake E. Lee, Zakk Wylde, and usually these guys lose it. To me, I mean, I don't, like over years and years, you're just like, wow, they can't come up with great stuff no more. It's all gone. And then I hear that song and I'm like, gee, oh.
I thought it was cool too with that one too, how it looks like an old Ozzy album, like the album cover and like just all the artwork. It felt like, because I feel like sometimes with bands like that, like they try to make like some of his art, like, and I'm a big album art guy. I feel like they kind of tried to make him seem like he's in the context of current music, maybe with like Scream looked a little, the Black Rain, was it Black Rain? Like, and it kind of looked like it had like a new metal looking vibe to it. And this one's like they totally embraced who Ozzy is, and I thought that was cool.
They kept his gray hair
too,
which I thought was fucking cool. Yeah. Totally agree. And Patient number 9, the track, it sounded like the perfect song for Ozzy in 2022. It had a classic feel, but with a new metal vibe. I know he said that they had challenged Andrew Watt, because Andrew Watt and company write a lot of the music. Then they get with Ozzy and write the melodies and vocals together, right? And they had been challenged to write from Sharon a heavier record. And Ozzy told Andrew directly he wanted songs like No More Tears. He wanted epic style, longer tracks. And Patient Number 9 was a direct prodigy, child of No More Tears, because that's what they were seeking to write with that song.
No More Tears.
And,
I got into Ozzy.
Yeah, and you don't typically write 7-minute singles, but it fucking worked out. It's a great song.
Yeah.
So
I
Proud
have
of it.
some greats. That Under the Graveyard song.
That's
Cool.
all.
Yeah,
I mean,
fucking long, man.
Yeah.
I
Well,
told
hey,
Josh when that first come out, I was like, man, that blows me away to hear Ozzy strong vocally on that, man.
And pushing 80.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before.
Well, but really though, back in the Sabbath days, I mean, fucking Tony Iommi would like have 3 songs in one, and like some of their best shit was 8 and 9 minutes long. And if you dazed out every bit, you'd be like, "Oh fuck, the tracks changed here on me." But then it go back into the chorus. But no, we're still here. We're still here.
It's still good.
I call them left turns, man. I fucking love that shit. That's my jam with Black Sabbath. That's exactly what I want. And No Escape from That with Tony Iommi had that on the new Ozzy album. Had that a lot of different, I think it has 3 different Tony Iommi guitar solos in that song, and has a lot of twists and turns, and then comes back to the chorus at the end of it and the hook. So it's fucking excellent.
It's a signature, and I love
and I'll
it.
tell you, I love it too. And I'll tell you one more thing about those albums, both Ordinary Man and Patient Number 9. Taylor Hawkins is great, but my guy Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I think might be the greatest drummer on the planet. He is fucking phenomenal, and I think he's what really drives those records.
It's
I don't
funny
think
because I wouldn't have thought of him as being like a guy who you would go to play that music, because when you think of Chili Peppers, you think funk, and I agree. He nailed it.
Well,
He doesn't.
Really though, if you really pick apart the Chili Peppers, and I've just kind of recently re-explored them with their new album this year.
Oh, really?
And I was thinking this the other day, and I'm not saying you got to agree. I'm just saying if you really pick apart that guy, I mean, I think the biggest problem is everybody thinks Flea when you think Chili Peppers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if you really pick that apart and you sit back and listen and you kind of just zone in on them drums, that guy's playing the fuck out of them drums the whole time. He is playing the fuck out of them drums, and he don't get no acknowledgement for it.
Nope.
No.
Biggest fucking, I don't know the word of it.
What's funny is we saw the Chili Peppers this summer, and some friends got tickets, and they had like 4 drum solos throughout and he is good.
He's terribly underrated. I'm telling you, he's terribly underrated. That guy, that guy's killing it. If you just look past, in my opinion, and I just have this on a few of their newer songs. I think he's just like, I'm breaking out my shell. Y'all don't want me to, but I don't care.
See, I just meant like I would have thought like more of like a 70s style drummer.
Yeah,
would have been like who they would have called, but no, he brought it. I thought the same thing with that Rage when they had that Rage Against the Machine guy do the Black Sabbath,
Brad Wilk,
which crushed it. Although Rage Against the Machine, the rhythm sections are kind of Black Sabbath-y.
Yeah, they are. A lot of swing. So Chad Smith told the story when promoting Patient Number 9 that he was pissed off at Rick Rubin because, in a playful way pissed, because Rick had always referred to Chad as his bullpen guy. If I need a drummer, you're my guy. Well, when he needed a drummer for Black Sabbath, he called Brad Wilk. And apparently that really pissed Chad Smith off. And Chad admitted that. And he said, now at least I've done 2 Ozzy albums and at least 2 songs with Ozzy and Tony Iommi, because this guy really wanted to do 13 and didn't get the opportunity. And now I look back, and as much as Brad Wilk was excellent on that, I wonder what Chad could have done to make it even better, because he's fucking over the top.
I wonder if they could like just dub, Chad in on one of the songs live and see how it goes. You know what I mean? Just dub it over and see how it sounds. I got an announcement here. As I've been posting this, I am giving 2 tickets away to the Theory of a Dead Man and Skillet Rock Resurrection Tour with St. Asonia, Wednesday, March 8th, to the Appalachian Wireless Arena. And it's very simple to enter and win. Like the Facebook page and like and subscribe to BODS Mayhem Hour YouTube page. I will get those 1,000 subscribers sooner or later. It's so come on, folks. I mean, I ain't gonna beg. I ain't too proud to beg. Anyway,
more breaking news. Salem's Crown and Downtrend are also opening that show.
That would be sweet.
That would be fucking
That'd be sweet.
And Salem's Crown is going on completely shirtless. Like
you cut out there, Josh. What's going on? I'm sorry, guys.
I said breaking news: Salem's Crown and Downtrend is opening that show, so we'll be there also.
Yeah.
And then Josh.
So that's true story. You are opening the show.
No. Here's the true story. Here's the true story. I will tell you this, and Josh fucking Kessler and guys, you can listen. Downtrend opened for Theory of a Dead Man in Huntington, West Virginia, when they had like the Bad Girlfriend song out, and they were actually fucking huge. And Pikeville, we don't get to sniff that shit. So no, actually, no, we're not.
but in case anybody's
just
listening,
so you know, and
Crown and Downtrend are down to open that show.
Oh, okay.
And we also open for Avenged Sevenfold in Huntington, West Virginia, and can't sniff them at Pikeville either when they come here. But I'm just throwing that out there, even though we fucking live in the city.
Yeah,
just whatever.
Yeah, whatever. We're down.
Whatever.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Well,
I don't care anymore. Fuck it.
Well,
you don't have to pay me.
Dave, we live in Appalachia, and apparently they only cater to the folk funk. And if you do folk music or play an acoustic, they love that shit, and they'll put you on some of these shows on the occasion. But if you're a rock band, you kind of don't have a fucking shot. So,
on a smaller level, on a smaller level, I have to say that the next show for my nonprofit will be on February 25th, and it'll be in Sandy Hook. And the bands playing are Sage of Raven, Taylor Road, Zero King, which you can go watch the new video Back Off on YouTube and request it on the radio, and a band called Voice of Reason. Will be February 25th. The next show after that will be March 8th there. March 18th there, I'm sorry. And we are looking for bands for March, April, and May to play. Josh played the very first show on December 10th with Zero King. And Josh can tell everybody if he wants to about the place. We're trying to create a scene in Sandy Hook. So if you're in a band and you'd like to play and help out our nonprofit, you can get a hold of me on Facebook.
Salem's Crown.
All that.
Salem's Crown.
Yeah, we'll get up with you, man.
Salem's Crown.
Yeah, for sure. It's,
Brando.
The room is cool as hell.
There's
a real chance to do something cool up there, man. The room is cool as shit. And for those of you that don't know, Sandy Hook, Kentucky, most famously known for Keith Whitley. It's where Keith Whitley's from. So.
And a little band called Dead at Zero that was from there too.
What was it, Mike?
Josh played with quite a bit. Dead at Zero is from Sandy Hook. So, but if anybody wants to play, let me know. We are also announcing some shows, maybe one at the Mac soon. And Josh from Downtrend will probably be on that show. So he don't even know this stuff yet, but I will tell him at a later date. He's like, what are you talking about? But anyway, we will hopefully have a Mac show coming up in April or May. And we're real excited about that we are going to be able to do a show at the Mac. And I got to tell Josh, thanks for the good advice about going and getting the brass.
You cut out. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah,
I didn't hear it.
He
was bragging on me, and I didn't get.
Josh, thanks for telling me to get the brass ring myself and not waiting on somebody else, because it worked out. So, Josh, thank you so much. And I have to. I don't want to give Josh a big head, but Josh has always been there for me for anything I do. I mean, this December 10th show was my first show in almost 10 years, and me and Josh go way back. Josh played shows for me from like 2008 all the way up to probably 2010 or 11 with Downtrend. I've seen every incarnation of Downtrend there ever was along the way. And John, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, man. You're amazing. You're awesome. The other two guys, or other four guys, it was nice meeting you too. Hopefully I get to have you play my show one day. And the other guy from Chicago, if you ever in Kentucky, let me know.
You're in for it now.
All right, so Josh and Downtrend, you got a new single come out in January. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're kind of excited. So we kind of took COVID off. Long story short, I got a little burned out for the first time. The band had been together forever, and I was the only member that never got burned out. I got burned out, took a few months off. That led into COVID, so it turned into a long fucking time off. So we just wanted to once we got back together to get ready for some shows, some for Mike, on top of some other things. We decided just to write a couple songs and record at least one real quick, just to kind of put it out there and say, hey, we're still here. And the track is called Backroads, and it's an up-tempo kind of punk. It's got a Motorhead vibe. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Everyone that hears it says, dude, that sounds like fucking Motorhead. And we didn't intend that until it was finished, and then it happened to sound like Motorhead. But it's like a 2 minute, 40-second rocker, and we're really fucking proud of it, man. We're excited to release it.
Do you need me to bring my bed or a cot and sing it on stage with you guys?
If we want to sell some fucking records, then yeah, let's do it.
John, listen, I will straight up buy a twin bed.
Oh my God!
And carry with me anywhere we play if you would come and just lay in the bed.
Just lay there.
Either to the side, in behind me.
No, because you guys will jump in the bed and start doing all this stuff and playing guitar, and I don't want that.
No, man. I mean, I'm not like sat down or just got some old and fat, but I mean, I'll get back up.
We'll even have someone come out with a big feather.
Yeah, like one of them big Leafs or whatever, just like for like some air conditioning or something. Yeah.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, I'm picturing that in Sandy Hook right now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But wait. The only way you can do it is if he does it like the Burt Reynolds pose from the 1980s.
Yeah.
Where Burt Reynolds was
Yes.
okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got to do it buck naked.
You gotta
No.
You gotta work the camera.
Yeah. Dave McAnally, Derision Cult, new album that's out right now. Let's talk about that just for a little bit. How can folks get, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I have an EP called Mercenary Notes Part 1. Came out just a couple weeks ago, but a lot of industrial angry robot music. We also, Mike, you were talking about that cassette. We did a cassette for our single too.
Nice.
Look at this promo capability here. The single off that, Death Blood, has Chris Connolly from Ministry singing, and guitar work from Reeves Gabrels from The Cure and David Bowie's band, which that turned out amazing, epic bucket list thing. But yeah, you can go to derisioncult.com, check out all our stuff there, and we're on Spotify and everything.
And Dave's interview is coming up shortly.
We talked all about it, man.
All the as he said, robot drum, pom 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 pom, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I can just imagine what things be cut out of this interview and posted up. Oh my God, Salem's Crown,
man. You do industrial.
That's right.
We got two that's going to be released before March. 2 singles, one called Company and one called Creature Eyes. Creature Eyes is kind of a continuation of our. We've done several tunes about the movie Monster series and done, kind of covered the old school movie monsters of the 20s, 30s, 40s.
Nice.
The Frankenstein. Cool. Yeah. So Creature Eyes is the Frankenstein deal. But we've got
we got many more coming.
Yeah, Death on Swift Wings is one we've got out. That is the Mummy song, basically.
And I do want to say, I'm not to interrupt, Josh.
You're right.
But inspired from Dave and also John, once this saga is finished, I think I want to put this on a cassette because that's badass.
That's cool.
Dude,
That's
fun,
badass, man.
Cassette.
And Mike. And I had to throw John in just because we did an interview the other day and we was talking about like maybe trying to get an album or something,
Yeah, go check that out. Go check that out.
I love that. I didn't know that cassettes. I knew that records was. I didn't know, but
this one is Blues of the Balls from Ozzy Osbourne. You might have heard that one before.
Oh yeah, I got that on record actually.
That's what I do. And the label I did this with was really about, hey, we should try cassettes, and we've gone through like almost all the ones we ordered. So
man, I just like as soon as y'all start throwing the cassette tapes, I remember myself in 6th grade getting ready for school, like like throwing Van Halen on in my cassette player and just rocking out, and then pissed off that I had to turn it off to catch the bus. I mean,
that was that cassette I had was Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill. So that's a phenomenal cassette, and I actually got that. I bought a poster of a friend of mine who went to the Misfit show, got a bunch of autographs on it, and I bought 2 laminates from him, and one was How the Gods Kill, and he sent me the cassette tape inside that package I bought from him, which is pretty cool.
But yeah, we for sure got the singles coming out. We've got a few. You can listen to our stuff on like all the platforms. We're on Spotify, iTunes. Josh, take over. I'm worthless.
All that.
Yeah. Hey, do you mind if I ask you? Can I ask all you guys real quick? So
yes, sir.
My theory right now, and Dave, you too. My plan for Downtrend is I'd like to release about 3 singles, then maybe go back and cut 2 more songs, and then group them as an EP and physically release that.
That's what we want to do too. That's what we want to do too, Josh.
Just to keep new content, right? Keep content coming out.
Yeah, and like we was talking with John there the other day, it seems to be a single world.
It is.
But I think we're all old school, and I will restate what I said the other day and say I miss album days.
Sure.
I want that 10 songs on there where I can say, well, 3 of them suck, 2 of them's okay, but I really like them 4. Yeah, and it's the new generation took that away from me.
You kill the concept album too. Like, if you've ever listened to any kind of concept album, like, I'm a huge fan of Pink Floyd.
Yes,
basically all of the Pink Floyd stuff was concept albums material, and if you miss one of them, you miss what they were going
like
for.
The whole album.
Yeah.
Well, with this right here, I didn't know this was coming out. And that song Red Alert came out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I heard Sunrise at Slaughter Beach that I really realized that a new album was coming out. And, for Christmas, my wife asked me, she said, what do you want? And I could have picked the vinyl, but I picked the cassette because I was like, I can't believe people are releasing cassettes in 2022,
I'm so happy that they are.
So did that album only release on cassette for Clutch?
No, it was on vinyl and CD.
Okay.
Did Patient Number 9 come out on cassette, Josh?
Yeah.
Real. Wow.
See, everything's coming out on cassette now. I mean, everything.
Right.
It's like
that's right. I love that. I love that. Y'all got me so excited. I know this.
But a cassette, and I know. What's the guy's name down here? That's from Chicago.
Oh, Dave. Yeah.
Dave. Yeah. I don't know if he did his cassettes himself, but cassettes are so much cheaper now to release like 100 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get 100 done for really cheap.
This was it was some company in Canada made them, but yeah, I remember it not being a lot. And you could do like here, just like stuff that when I was cassettes were like a thing you release because that's literally what you release. Like, yeah, you could do slip covers and like we did this with like crazy. Just I don't know if you could see it like this blue and like the tapes blue and like.
That's so cool, man. I
think what happens is like there's people that they want to just have that stuff,
Collector. Yeah, it's collector.
And Josh, I agree with you, man. I agree with you doing the 3 tracks and staying relevant and putting it out on a EP or whatever. Because look, man, a couple years ago, John 5 released his full album. Every month he released a song. Every single month. At the end of the year, he released every song on an album. On a CD, whatever. So
that's actually really smart.
Yeah,
because the reality is right now, releasing the album is shooting your wad. It's over. Yeah. Once you release the album, it's over now. Whereas back in the day, you released your single, you release the album, then you release 3 more singles. They don't do that anymore. Now you release your singles pre-album. The album release don't mean shit really anymore unless you're a diehard fan.
Well, I'll go back to Kane Brown. My wife's a huge Kane Brown fan. We got to see Kane Brown when he played Manchester, when he first got signed. And, his new album just came out called Different Man. And, man, for 2 years, 2.5, 3 years, between the second album and the new album, he released like 20 singles. I mean, it was like, he was releasing singles, and those songs will never be on an album now, which kind of sucks for somebody that collects stuff like that. Like my wife's a huge Kane Brown collector. She's got his first EP that's like $1,000 on eBay. I mean, but those songs that he did with like Marshmello and Khalid, or is this how you say his name, Khalid? All that kind of stuff will never be on an album because they were all released as singles. And it's cheaper for the record label to release it as a single as opposed to physical. And like one thing that's changed in our lives is you can go in Walmart now and you can see more vinyl in Walmart than you can any other form of music. It's unreal. And I mean, Ozzy Patient Number 9 had an exclusive vinyl at Walmart. I mean, it's amazing that our children, like my son, I was talking about earlier, he's 23. He's able to get back into vinyl again. The things that I grew up with, I mean,
that was my first Sabbath album.
Yeah. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, the cycles that we're going through right now. And something else that some artists are doing what Prince did back in the day, and that was release the live record. When you got your ticket, Prince would do. When you got your ticket, you would pay for a CD. As you're walking out the door, you got the CD to the concert. Well, some artists are starting to do that again too, and I mean, you got to be a genius in this world and day and time, because you're not going to make no money unless you do. I mean, and I commend the bands that are putting out CDs and vinyl and the sticks that has all the music on them. People are doing that now. So I mean, it's just you got to get in where you can do whatever. Like I never thought I'd be doing live shows again, but man, December 10th showed me that I really enjoy it,
I never thought I'd be doing a podcast. And then I got Josh, just start doing a podcast. And my friend Curtina, she's doing a podcast because she said, it helps with therapy and all that stuff. And I was like, good, that's great. This isn't for everybody's cup of tea. I understand that. But, I'm just glad to help out. All right, folks.
I did Facebook Live from 2017 to now. January will be my 6 years doing Facebook Live. I never thought I'd do that either.
In January, it'll be 13 years. I cannot believe it. 13 years.
Nice, man. Congrats.
13 unforgettable years, thanks to Mr. Josh Crum, because he would not let me forget some of this stuff. But that's great, because I love him. But anyway, thanks to Blast on Mike, Josh Crum, Dave McAnally, and Salem's Crown. Love you guys, and thank you for being on here. Folks, please subscribe to BODS Mayhem Hour's YouTube page, and if you like what I do, thank you. I appreciate any help I can get. Subscribe, follow me. We got a lot of stuff coming up. Josh Crum is going to be on here later. I'm going to do an interview with him about Downtrend's new single, which I always do. Josh is always on here. So
I didn't know that. Okay. Sure.
Okay. Dave is always on here. I don't go through Dave's PR. I just reach out to Dave. Hey, what's going on? Let's look up an interview. He's like, okay, sure. And then Salem's Crown. Yeah, I guess I'll help those guys.
Yeah. We'll jump on.
But, yeah. Yeah, I don't know about it. You just
I do want to say it's really nice meeting all you guys. You guys are cool as shit.
Yeah.
You too, man.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you.
Yeah, I keep my circle very, very few and far between, because there's people I love to talk music with and can bounce ideas off of, and don't go down that rabbit hole of don't do this.
Yeah.
Well, now Josh, on the other hand, he may just test me and see what happens, and then go, "I didn't do that."
Boss so much, man.
He does.
I bust his boss so much, but I swear I love it. He loves it too.
Hey.
You can tell.
Hey, John, don't think you're the Lone Ranger, dude. He God. Josh is on me all the time too, so don't think you're the Lone Ranger, buddy.
It's coming,
Mike
Josh.
is telling you, John. Mike is telling you the truth, 100%.
Wait, me and Mike's gonna have a big comedy hour of nothing but Josh Crum cracks. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Dude, he had me so flustered on the 10th that, man, I didn't even know my name was Mike. I swear. It was bad, dude. It was bad. It was like, oh my God, can I get out of this really quick?
All right, folks. Thank you guys for tuning in. I truly appreciate it. And I know these guys truly appreciate it. And again, go like and subscribe to all of our socials and support us. That is for sure. And hey, if you like what you saw tonight and want to see more of BODS Mayhem Hour live podcasts, let me know. And I will definitely fit these in, every other week or every week or however you guys would like to see these. Let me know. But thank you guys, and thank you all so much again, and looking forward to 2023. And maybe I'll get to cover some festivals. It's not like I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, we got enough bands on here. Let's just make our own festival.
Yeah.
There you go.
We can come halfway to Chicago. Let's
Yeah.
find a platform.
We'll do it.
I'm willing to drive for you, Dave.
Yeah, all right, man. Well, we're talking about some stuff here later in the year, so
Yeah.
Hey,
All right.
next year. So
Good
There
deal.
you go, folks. We'll see you
All right.
next time.
See
And Happy New Year's to you guys, and hope 2023 is awesome for you all.
Happy
Thanks,
New Year.
man.
Too,
Happy
guys.
New Year. Thank you.
Yeah.